Hello and welcome. My name is Sahan Shalabi and I'm a solutions engineer for Cisco Secure Connect. In this video we're going to be looking at the implementation of the VPN as a service. To get started, I wanted to talk about a couple of points pre-deployment. It might be a good idea to start doing some information gathering beforehand in order to grab the IP addresses of your internal DNS servers, as well as set up DNS forwarding for any external requests, pointing those to Secure Connect. You also want to ensure that we have reachability from the cloud service to those DNS servers, and this might involve creating tunnels between where that DNS server lives and to Secure Connect. You'll also want to ensure that we have a couple of subnets carved out so that they're non-overlapping with anything else in your infrastructure. A couple of additional considerations. You may want to consider doing the identity provider integration beforehand, but this can also be done post-deployment of the VPN as a service. And you'll also want to get Cisco Secure Client installed so you can then connect to the VPN. I recommend doing this post-deployment as there'll be some UI elements which will be revealed, which will allow us to download and install all the components that we need. Our topology is going to look pretty straightforward. I'm going to spin up the RA VPN headends, connect to it, and then try to reach a private application that we have. We're going to also take a look at the default policy that's sitting there in the cloud firewall. So if you haven't reviewed this already and attempt to do some testing and you see traffic being dropped, this could be the reason why. So let's get started with the configuration. I'm currently sitting on the Secure Connect remote access page where I'm being prompted to get started with the configuration. The first decision I'm going to make is which regions I wish to operate in. And for the time being, I'm just going to select a couple of data centers out of the European region. I'll then need to enter in the subnet ranges I want users to resolve to when they successfully connect to one of the data centers. A bit further down, I'll need to enter in the DNS servers. These will typically be your internal DNS servers so users can resolve any internal applications that you might host. And then I might use a secondary DNS server as well for high availability, but in our case, I'm just going to use the OpenDNS resolver. Quick thing to note, when doing testing, we'll want to ensure that we have reachability to this DNS server. For anything that's destined towards the public internet, you'll also want to ensure that you have DNS forwarding configured and point that towards the OpenDNS resolvers as well. For the default domain, I'm just going to enter in something here, but you'll want to do what you have configured in production. And then you can also enter in any additional DNS names if you need it as well. From here, I'll hit save and we'll start to see those two data centers being provisioned. Now that they've been provisioned, we'll take a look at how you might add additional data centers. Simply configure the regions, and I could start to add new data centers and new regions from here as well. Taking a step back, if we wanted to change how Secure Client operates once it's been installed on the end user's machine, we can do so from this tab. You can also start to implement traffic steering if you wanted some traffic to either break out of the tunnel or if you wanted specific traffic to go through it. And the last step to ensure that when users attempt to authenticate, we'll want to make sure that we've assigned them under our user and group assignments. Now that the service has been enabled and I've selected which users will be able to authenticate, I want to test connectivity to the service. Now for the time being, I'm simply going to grab the FQDN and attempt to connect to it. But for more on how you might do a silent installation with pre-provisioning of Secure Client, there will be a separate video recorded. So I have Secure Client over here. I'm simply going to throw in the FQDN that I copied from the dashboards. I'll then be prompted for SAML authentication. Enter in my credentials. And I'm successfully connected. So I also want to test to ensure that I have reachability to some internal resources. We're going to start by trying to ping the DNS server to see what happens. And we can see that those requests are currently timing out. This is likely due to the cloud firewall policy that we have in place, so we may want to come over here and flip that. On the Secure Connect and then Cloud Firewall page, if if we head on over here, we'll see that there is an implicit deny rule in place for all private traffic. So I may want to change the action here to allow, and then we'll wait for that rule to update within the clouds and then see traffic going through successfully. Perfect, so it looks like that rule has now kicked into effect and we have reachability to our internal DNS server. That's all I have for you today in this video. Thank you very much for joining and all the best. Take care.